Romanticism or Romantic era was an artistic, literary, musical, and intellectual movement initially originated in Europe and later on shifted to many parts of the Western countries. It was basically a movement which was registered more or less by the end of the 18th century and remained in vogue until 1890. As the word suggests, romance, the basic word romance has been lifted from a concept of novel. Novel means any work of fiction in literature. And these novels were initially related to chivalric romances. The word romances and the chivalric romances further gave rise to the word romance and then initiated the word romantic. And the whole age, which is almost between 1800 to 1890, is called romantic period. And the various features related to this period are called or are treated as romanticism. As we know that in this period, most of the poets or the writers who were writing, they did not call themselves romantic or adopting any trends of romanticism as such. However, they were aware of the fact that a new wave in literature has come. When William Blake says, a new heaven has begun, or when Shelley says, a world, it is world's greatest age, or when Keats says that it is like a having a heart, another heart, the heart which was earlier with the classics, now that heart has been transferred into another heart. So these individuals or these poets were aware of the fact that a new wave or new trend has been adopted in literature, but they themselves never called themselves romantics or belonging to any romantic age or following any trend particularly which is related to romance. This term as romanticism or romantic age or following the trends of romantics, and these trends were different from classist. This term was basically it this term basically originated from a series of lectures which were delivered later on, and it was institutionally or in a way it was adopted as a designation to these poets or these writers much later, not by these writers themselves. As the term says, or as we know by now as students of literature, that romanticism is basically not, as most of the people or the newcomers in English literature think, that romance means love. It is not exactly love. It has much different and much wider connotations in English literature. The basic features of romanticism was romance with oneself, like it was emphasis to individuality, where individual was supreme, his feelings were supreme, his emotions were supreme, whatever his perceptions are there connected with those emotions or with those feelings, they were supreme. So individual experience was at the forefront in romanticism. And along with this, since they were very individualistic, they were very emotional, they gave emphasis to feelings, as Wordsworth said, that poetry is nothing but spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings or emotions. So when emotions were at forefront, these poems or this whole trend was very musical. It was very lyrical in its content as well as in its form, because the earlier classists, they were trapped in some meters, and they had some rules that the poetry would follow such and such rhyme scheme. So these poets were not following those rules, or they were not writing exactly in some heroic couplet or exactly in some rhyme scheme or exactly following some basic rhyme pattern which was a sort of rule that has to be followed. It was not like this with these people. They were free to follow any rhyme scheme, follow it or not follow it, or leave it. It was up to them. So they were musical in the sense that they were very individualistic and they were very emotional in their feeling. Besides this, they glorified nature in all its aspect, nature in its subtlety, nature in its love, nature with the concept of giving, nature with the concept of sympathy. And if we talk of pre-romantics, they found nature very mysterious, and sometimes they were in a sense afraid of nature when it harmed the humanity, or nature gave nature in its wilderness. They were very much attracted, influenced, or awestruck by these aspects of nature, and nature was sort of glorified in all its sense, in all its beauty, in its landscape, in its beautiful orchards, or in beautiful lawns, or rivers, or mountains, or the isolation or solitariness which was related with nature was glorified, was worshipped. Then they were lovers of beauty, may it be the beauty of women, may it be the beauty of nature. And it was a reaction against aristocracy, the hegemony of aristocracy, that the rules which came down from aristocracy to the commoners. So they reacted against aristocracy, they reacted against classicism, they reacted against any sort of hegemony, they reacted against any sort of rules, they reacted against industrial revolution, which gave too much importance to materialistic pursuits. They reacted against enlightenment, which had its own norms. They did not exactly reacted against enlightenment, but they reacted against the norms, the abnormal norms which came with enlightenment. And they reacted against using a poetic diction, which was a diction of the classicist literature, and they wanted to use very common language, speech of commoners, for the masses to be to be so that they to be adopted in poetry, and they could be appreciated by the masses, because this poetry spoke about the common people. This poetry spoke about the experience of the common people. So here the common man came in front, and it was a reaction against all sorts of artificiality, whether in literature, whether in architecture, whether in paintings, whether a pseudo intellectualism was cropping up. So this in a way was a romance with oneself, chivalry with oneself, chivalry within chivalry through heart, through love, through a feeling of well-being, through empathy with commoners. So as we know that it gave importance to to the masses, and it gave importance to not only to the masses but the writer who was writing it, and the readers who read their poetry, they could identify with the writer, they could feel that it is in a way subjective poetry. And when Shelley said, lift me as a wave, as a cloud, I fall upon the thorns of life, I bleed, so everyone in a way could have an empathy with Shelley. Or when Keats say, past sea stricken youth, is immediately everyone who read that poem had an empathy with Keats. Or when Words said, the still sad music of humanity, we could understand what he was speaking. So the poetry was not an objective poetry, poetry was subjective poetry, and we could see the poet into living into that poem, and the readers also lived that poetry through the poet or the author. So in a way, which I said, that since it came from the heart, it was not artificial, it was meant for the masses, and it came it was very lyrical at the same point of time, being devoid of any artificial or any abnormal rules of meters, or talking of one's feelings, talking of one's emotions. Then imagination, as S.T. Coleridge has said, imagination was also at forefront. Imagination of all types, imagination of mystery worlds, imagination of dreams. Then you have a pseudo or you have a semi existence. When you are writing a poem, it appears that as if it has been written in trance. So they were also, the human psyche was at the forefront. How you are feeling at that time, what is your mental state at that time. So intellect in a way was suppressed when we talk of S.T. Coleridge's poetry, like Christabel or Kubla Khan or Rime of the Ancient Mariner. We know that somewhere it gave importance to human psyche, and it kept intellectualism or a reason or rationality much at a very far side, and at the forefront was emotions, imaginations, then innocence, a childlike innocence was there. Whatever is there is grasped as if something is new, something is something has been seen for the first time. With this, just as a child sees things with a sense of newness, or with a charm, as if something absolutely some a new phenomena or a magic has been spread before him. Those eyes of child were adopted. And besides this, instead of giving importance to classicism, there was importance given to periods like medieval period, periods like even Keats gave importance to Hellenistic period. And when you talk of art, you talk of folk art, you talk of Gothic art, you talk of medieval art, you talk of mysticism, you talk of miracles. You are in a reverie, you are in a dream. So basically it was a plunge into, as I said earlier, plunge into oneself, plunge into one's own psyche, plunge into one's own heart, plunge into one's own feeling, plunge into one's own emotions, plunge into one's own subjective perception of things, plunge into one's deepest corners, or one's deepest fears, or one's deepest love, or one's deepest sense of insecurities, or one's deepest sense of securities. So it was a poetry which was completely talking of oneself, how one sees. So individual was at the forefront, which I have already said in the beginning. And now I sum up this speech of myself, and I expect that you would also explore about romantic period and the theme of romanticism. Thank you.